Let me open up the scoreboard.
We're live here on the Game Time CT Drive Home Show. I got my peanut M&Ms in hand. Pete's got his Arizona Diamondback hat on. We're back from our games. Pete literally just walked in. I just walked in maybe 20 minutes ago. And it was a crazy night Friday night here at it was crazy. You know, I mean, we talk about all this Alliance stuff in the games and but league play, man. Hell hath no fury like, league rivals scorned. In the SEC alone tonight was just absolutely ridiculous. Let's start with our games, though. You were actually down at the FSAC. You saw the big matchup, the top 10 matchup, Wilton versus Staples. Staples coming off that Darien win, and Wilton coming off their Ludlow win. You know, everyone kind of thinking like, wow, Staples kind of put it to them. Staples defense didn't give up any touchdowns in any of their games other than the West Haven game until tonight. Pete, what happened? What's going on, Wilton? Your boys.
It was a beatdown. I mean, from the jump, Wilton was all over Staples and took it to them and did not take their foot off of the gas. The dogs were sleeping on the Staples sideline this week. I will tell you that. I mean, it was just an absolute clinic. It was a perfect, coaches talk about, we had a great week of practice. We had a perfect game plan. It was honestly that from the jump. They went up 7-0, Calabrese touchdown, 14-0, a Dennis Dustin touchdown, 21-0. Then it was 28-0. Staples finally got on the board. Wilton scores 2 more times to put this game away, 41-7. Wilton's 5-0. This is a team, this is a program now that isn't that, and we've talked about it before, so it's not new, and it shouldn't be a surprise when they win a game like this. They beat Greenwich last year. They've beat Staples within the last couple of years. They've beaten New Canaan. They've beaten Darien. They've beaten, they got the Ridgefield. They broke that streak. I mean, this is a program that we should expect to win these games. And let me tell you, man, they were giving me the business at the end of the game. I got my name today is Trust the 8 Ball for that reason. The 8 Ball is the only one who didn't pick. The 8 Ball is the only one that did pick Wilton. And
8 Ball,
man,
sometimes the 8 Ball knows.
Yeah, the 8 Ball always knows. And it was just incredible. I mean, it was a clinic. It was from the start to finish.
Shocked. And I thought they would be competitive.
I was shocked too.
But the lay on their own field, Staples comes in, they were kind of feeling it after that humble Darien, and they come right back. Yeah.
Well, Wilton had a lot to prove. They weren't happy with where they are in the poll. They were screaming at me at the end. They're like, we're a top 5 team. We're a top 5 team. I'm like, yeah, you might be. You might be at this point because, Staples made easy work of Darien, which was a top 5 team for a while. And they made easy work of Staples, which was a top 5 team. Wilton is 5-0. Their schedule's really hard down the stretch, and that's something we're going to have to look at. But right now, man, they just look so good. And it was just right from the jump. I mean, they came in playing with a chip on their shoulder, whether it was where they were ranked, Staples, stuff that Staples does during games that has kind of gotten around. And, and one of the things that they said to me after the game was they chose us to be their homecoming game.
I saw that.
So we kind of know what that means. And not we wanted to ruin it, but hey, you pick the homecoming teams because you think that you're going to win the homecoming games. And it wasn't even close.
Yeah. I mean, we're a top 10. Be careful what you wish for, guys, because these teams that are getting into the top 10, we do a lot of our work is we have to look at a team who beats what team, and then you kind of have to. That's all you can judge it by. We're not watching film. And it's a lot of the times it's not about the matchups. But there are a ton of teams that I was screaming about. Oh, this team's got to be in there. Let's go take from the FCC. Go to the SEC where everything just absolutely blew up tonight. We'll start. We'll just start. I'm going to run it down in alphabetical order here because that's the way it is in CIAC. Amity 48, Harding 6 tonight. But then over at what was that? The Surf Club.
No, it was at Cheshire.
It was at Cheshire, at the McClary complex, even another dangerous place to play. Cheshire 28, Hand 27, overtime on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Jim Fuller has a nice, we'll have it on our Instagram. Had the nice 2-point, what was it? 2-point play? I don't know. The winning play we have. And Hand was down. I gotta remember what he said. If you look at it, Hand was down.
Oh, wait, no, I'm wrong. That was at the Surf Club.
It was at the Surf Club. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I'm watching the video now.
At the Surf Club, who had their winning play? What was it?
Cheshire. They went for 2 in the win in overtime.
Went for 2 in the win in overtime. This is a team. Now, why not? They had nothing to lose at that point. I mean, obviously, a lot of teams will go for 2 in that spot. But
a rollout and a catch by number 9, whoever number 9 is. I do not have their roster in front of me.
I actually have last week's roster here somewhere. Maybe not.
At the Surf Club, at Strongfield. That's a huge win.
So, you lose, got kind of flattened a little bit by North Haven last week. And then they go to the Surf Club, and now you're like, oh, man, we got to beat a team that's undefeated. They're ranked number 4. I mean, but, Cheshire's not scared of this guy. They're not scared. No, I mean, like, that's the way you got to be. If you're going to be playing for Cheshire, you can't be scared. And they weren't. They went in there, man, and they were down 13-3, and then they came roaring back. They had 2 block punts, if I remember correctly, and they went for it. They got an onside kick, and the next thing you know, it's 20-13 Cheshire. Like within minutes, they just turn it right around on them, and that's how you do it, man. You want to stun Hand, and the Hand came back, but at that point, momentum's in Cheshire's favor, which was that's a big win. And then I know we don't want to do too much scoreboard playoff watching just yet. We got to do it after week 6. But where are the rankings? Here they are. So Cheshire now, I mean, there's still things to come in, but Cheshire is where they L. That's huge because they're an L. Yeah. And there are a lot of teams vying for spots there, and L and they're right back into the mix with all these other things. They were out. And they're right back in the mix with Newtowns, the Amities, the War, So Cheshire, that turns Cheshire's whole season, or completely changes the complexion. Speaking of which, I'm going to jump a bit. First of all, down at Ken Strong Stadium, Fairfield Prep, the team you just can't figure out who's going to show up on any given day, comes out and they do a nice job. I don't know too much about the game, but 17-14 do a nice job keeping West Haven under wraps. I don't know. You've seen Fairfield Prep. Sometimes you got them, sometimes you don't.
Fairfield Prep has talent, but like you said, which team is going to show up?
I mean,
they seem to play Fairfield Prep well. They seem to play West Haven well in the regular season, whether it's the night before Thanksgiving or apparently during the regular season. So it's a nice win, but you're going to see them in double L. So that one now matters a little bit more. So but it's a good win.
No the details of the game in there, but it's obviously a defensive struggle. Guilford 17, Shelton shut out. Goose egg for the Gales, who had a lead on Fairfield Prep. I think last week?
2 weeks ago.
Oh, 2 weeks ago. They had 2 weeks ago. And Guilford shuts them out 17-zip. That's pretty impressive. The game I was at, Law 34, Brantford 13. Not a whole lot to talk about. It's the first time I ever covered a game at Law, if you can believe that. I've covered Law many times, but I've never actually gone to a game at Law in my entire 20 years or whatever it is now. Never covered a game at Law. Plenty of scrimmages, plenty of interviews down there, but never. And Brantford came in undefeated, 4-1, 4-0, and but the Law guys, it wasn't the greatest game of all time. They just kind of just wore them down, basically. They scored right before the half to go up 2 scores. They got first of all, Brantford gives them the ball with great field position to start. Too easy for Whitman and the guys. And then Brantford tied it up. And then Law goes ahead. And then Brantford couldn't do anything offensively after that, really. And Law tack one on at the end of the half, and then tack one on to start. They had this beautiful double pass play. Kid is wide open by 50 yards. And I don't want to pick on him at all, but he was killing himself. He just drops the ball. And you would think, wow, all right, big momentum swing here. That was an easy touchdown. They're going to go up 3 scores. Well, they just went right down the field and scored anyway. They were like, and at the end of the game, the Law guys, look, you make a mistake, we got your back. And they certainly did tonight. And they were kind of going, hey, We're not Wilbur Cross over here, man. We're legit. They're right now at 4-1. The only losses to Killingly right now. We're flattening them. No surprise there. But they played the better schedule, and there's something to be said about the better schedule now. We know Ned Griffin talks about this a lot, but a lot of the teams that had better schedules to start the year have fared a little bit well as we get it further into league play here. A case in point, I guess, maybe Notre Dame, West Haven. I've been sitting there. I finally jumped off the bandwagon this week, Pete. Notre Dame, West Haven, a team they got just absolutely buried with. Not that anyone's crying for them, but just their schedule was start with Greenwich. What was their other game? The other game, Ludlow, which is pretty good. So that was the game they really needed to win. Didn't. Yeah. Then they get Greenwich down the road, flattened by them, and even Law beat them. Hung on and beat them. Yeah. And I saw North Haven just run over Cheshire last week, and I'm thinking, there's no way Notre Dame is going to put up a fight.
Yeah,
it was no contest. Notre Dame, 42-14. If you ever needed a win, I even said in the guide, I basically was saying goodbye, have fun, because I thought North Haven looked pretty good, but matchup wise, Notre Dame, absolutely a huge win. And 3 nights where you've been all year. This is what we've been looking for, And it's funny. I'm looking at where they are in the standings here.
And that was the thing I was saying on Monday's show about the poll. And it's just because you're 4-0 doesn't mean that you're good. And I'm not knocking teams that are 4-0, but look in the mirror, look at your schedule. There are teams around the state that play tougher schedules and are better despite losing games. And at the end of the day, it's the tougher teams that they're the tougher teams that are always better. I mean, at the end of the day, a 2-loss team that actually played people is better than a 10-0 team that played no one.
St. Joe drum. Speaking of which, St. Joe, we'll get to them in a second. But Notre Dame has a long way to go here, but it's not as we've mentioned a billion times, not undoable. Double negative. That's a double negative. They got they got Wilbur Cross. They got Foreign. They should win those. Shelton, you would think they should win. Hill House. All of a sudden, I'm looking at Notre Dame's schedule, guys. You should win all those games. I mean, the way Shelton's playing, Hill House got flattened, Hamden at the end. I know that game gets crazy, but Notre Dame could be looking at 6. Sorry. Okay. Anyway, double L's a mess. All right, going down a bit. Lyman Hall 46, Bassick 6, Sheehan 28, Xavier 14. Get Xavier now, guys. Everyone I talked to said they'll be back. They'll be back very, very soon. So get them now while you can. Sheehan got them 28-14. That's pretty good. That's huge for Sheehan being an S. Huge. They're just going to get all those points now. East Haven 20, Wilbur Cross 6. East Haven off the deck, which is good. And like I said, Amity 40. So the SEC went bonkers this week. Cheshire beating Hand in OT 28-27. And then Notre Dame, West Haven, apps coming out of nowhere. Flattening North Haven 42-14. So that was the SEC. Also, some crazy stuff going on in the FCAC tonight. St. Joseph has not allowed an offensive touchdown in how many quarters now? At least 8. So shut out Ridgefield 16-0 on a bunch of Jake Rios field goals. I think there were those. No, they couldn't. They must have got one. Yeah, they got a touchdown, I guess, at the end. It was 9-0 field goals. Offense, they had some work to do, but right now, defense, St. Joe, oof, my goodness. They shut out New Canaan defensively, and now they just shut out Ridgefield, who's lit it up against Norwalk last week, especially Cosley running around catching 60, averaging 60 yards a catch. So good job by St. Joseph. Ludlow beats Norwalk 35-34 in overtime. It doesn't say it on the CIAC site, but it was an overtime game, extra point at the end. Won it for Ludlow, so they get off the schneid after losing to Wilton last week. That Wilton lost to Ludlow. Ludlow played better than Staples. Much better than Staples. So shout out to the Falcons. Not a bad job at all. Wilton 41, as we mentioned. 41. Staples 7. That's an ass kicking. Goodness.
Yep.
All right, let's go up to CCC land. Glastonbury 16, Manchester zip. interesting score there. Here's one now. I think it's time really, and I know they scream at us all the time. New Britain 42, Southington 14. That changes everything to me, at least. Because remember, Southington hung with Glastonbury, Staples hung with Glastonbury. New Britain just flattened Southington. And I don't know who they had or didn't have, but Jaden Allen had an amazing night. Just a showed out tonight. I don't know what his yard.
Look, they're the best team in the CCC Tier 1. You know, I don't know what their schedule is, whether they get Windsor or not. Though Windsor magically is still in Tier 2 in the CCC. But New Britain is the best team in that top tier of the CCC, and they prove it every single week. And they hate us because apparently we don't talk about them enough.
We don't cover them enough.
But they're awesome. Jaden Allen's awesome. Coach Bodie's great. Like, New Britain rocks.
That was a butt whooping too.
Yeah.
New Britain, Southington, 42-14. It was not even close. And Southington hung with, like I said, Southington hung with Glastonbury. Glastonbury hung with and then who beat Danbury? Then you saw Danbury hung with Glastonbury. You're like, I don't know. And so New Britain right now in that top tiers. Speaking of top tiers, Windsor's another one. They should be probably in there. Windsor 52, Enfield 7. I mean,
AJ Robinson threw for 4 touchdowns.
Yeah. And ran for another.
Compton caught 2.
Compton, yeah, they are the best. One of the best pitch and catch combos, right? At least the north of the Northwest Catholic guys. I mean, they're pretty good too. But that was a big win for the South Windsor 50, Connor 26. So Connor
and Simsbury, Connor and East Hartford both got held to under 30 points this week.
Yeah. Connor follows up an 80-point game with 26 against South Windsor, which beat him by 24 points.
Well, that one makes a little bit more sense because Connor allowed 74 points last week.
Right. So here was an interesting one. Farmington led for most of the way against Newington, but Newington, the offensively challenged Nor'easters, finally put together.
It mattered most who they give the ball to.
Your boy,
Josiah Sims.
Yeah, he was good. But, man, they need to score some more points. They're going to get bit. They got bit last week. But 18-7, Farmington was hanging around. Defense was playing well, but Newington defense showed up in the end, and so did Sims. 18-7 was the final there. They are 4-1. Bristol Central beats Hall 24-21 in an interesting game. No scores from the CTC. Here we go. In the ECC, which most of it is off tonight.
Most of the league is
most
off.
Of the league is off. They have a few games tomorrow, but I'll get to Watertown in a minute, but Waterford 35, Ledyard 34. The Hill and the Lancers winning big again. How many? Where are we on them? Are they? Where are they? Let's see, where are they in that division? Everything double S. Of course, my internet doesn't work. But that's a good one for them. Waterford. There we are. 4-1 they are right now, and they got Woodstock next week. Next in a couple weeks, and then let's see, going down a bit. Ludlow, we talked about the FCAC games. New Canaan 43, Danbury 10. We didn't talk about that one, but it was all number one.
I don't think we have stats from that game yet, but it looks like New Canaan's offense found their stride after last week.
We thought they might. So nothing from West Hill McMahon yet. In the NVL, man, we were all off the Ansonia bandwagon, and the Chargers with another big win. Holding off Holy Cross 28-26 at Jarvis Stadium. The Ansonia knows what's at stake. They against a team that, I mean, they're pretty good. Holy Cross was hanging around with Massac. They clearly got some playmakers there. Obviously, Sean Graves, but Ansonia to hold them to 26 and win that game at home, needing every single one. Big one. That's a huge one for the Chargers. Kevin Roberts at the game. We'll get a report from him. But how about this one, though? Seymour 21, Woolkett 20.
The NVL is just other than Woodland right now, the NVL is just all even, it feels like.
Seymour. I was going to say in the guide this week, Seymour always has trouble with Wolcott because they always have trouble with Wolcott. And Wolcott, that's a pretty, remember they were dead last year. They're dead for a while now.
Yeah, last couple of years. They haven't really been competitive since before COVID.
I was pretty sure that that it was just they were just a product of their schedule. And they still might be. They're 3-2 now. That's not terrible though. And they're right behind Ansonia in the Class S standings, Wolcott. So if they had won that, they would be ahead of them right now. So they came this close, Wolcott. So you're on your way back. You're on your way back, Eagles. So we'll hear from you. So that's a good, impressive effort because Seymour beat Ansonia. Let's not all forget that. Torrington 55, GNH 21. Final score there. And Watertown off the deck, 21-14 over St. Paul Catholic in a pretty interesting game. I was following along on X on that one, but they win their first game of the post Grady Gamby era. So good job by Sean Stenko. So I sent his box score in. Very nice. Get that win publicized. And then the other one, I thought Nagy was going to win this one, man, but Waterbury Career Academy continues to impress. 20-17 over the Hounds. And Waterbury Career Academy just continues to win, Pete. And right now they're undefeated, top in Class M. They got Rocco Zenick there, quarterback.
Winners win.
Winners win. That's right. Winners do win, man. Good job of them there leading the Class M race. So what else we got tonight? What else happened? Oh, Pequot.
Pequot wants love. We've gotten about 17 messages about Rockville. They won 35-13.
Rockville beats that. You guys were going to win that game. Come on. Rockville, yeah. All right. We love it.
Yeah. No, there was a lot more comments about Rockville. We got it. Rockville's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, they beat Stafford. That game was usually a really fun game, and I'm sure it was still a really good time. But when Coach Majon was there and Eric's at Rockville, you had that kind of thing. And, Stafford's still trying to kind of get back up there in the Pequot. So maybe that game will become I drove up to cover that game 3 years in a row. So.
Good one for Rockville. They are undefeated. Hey, our guys from Granby Canton sick of being stomped on. 28-22 over the Crec. Is it Crec or C-Rec? We had this.
It's Crec. It's Crec. It's Crec.
That's what I call it, yeah. 28-22. It's like calling the FCAC. The FCAC. Well, that's what it's kind of like. And then calling the IC the SEAC, as they do down in Fairfield County. But Crec, which was averaging, 48 points a game. They had 60 back-to-back weeks. Then they get into this. Now, Granby, that's a big one for them because Granby, we left them for dead, just like Ansonia. Now they're back in a little bit of a better spot here. Where are they? Are they in double S? Granby, where are they? Yeah. And they're not out of the race at all in any stretch of the imagination, Class double S. Granted, you can see who's in there, but what else here? Nothing from Ellington, Coventry. Nothing from SMSA. Nothing from HK. HK defeated Morgan Co-op 20-13. So they snapped their little losing streak, go to 3-2. Nothing on the other game I was thinking about going to. I didn't go to was Valley Regional in North Branford. If anybody has anything on that, let me know. I don't see a score yet. That was the game I was considering going to until I figured, I haven't been to law in ever, so I might as well go to that game. What else, Pete? What else? I think those are all the scores.
I don't know, man. We're doing this show. This is the second time we're doing it on Instagram and YouTube, and the comment sections are wild. Let me tell you that.
Give me some.
Oh, no, they're not appropriate to say out loud.
Oh, jeez. All right.
So, for the people who are asking this game, we've talked about them. So, rewind. Be kind and rewind. We're not going to go back and talk about. We opened up the show about Wilton's beatdown of Staples for the first 7 minutes of the show. So, go back and listen to it.
We got to talk about it.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the biggest win for Wilton over Staples. Didn't they beat him a couple of years ago?
Did they?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to pull it up because I'm going to do, I think, my column this week on Wilton. But I'm pretty sure that they beat Staples not that long ago, because obviously they've kind of come through and have beaten some of these bigger, better schools.
They did beat Staples. So I'm thinking of the New Canaan game.
But they beat New Canaan a couple of years ago. We were there. They beat Staples in 2019.
Okay. So they crossed that off their list early. Remember, we had the list.
Yeah, that was one of the early ones that they've crossed. Yeah, so I'm gonna take a deep dive, but they're 2-10 against Staples since 2004.
Yeah.
So.
Wilton has. So we have one of the comments saying like, yeah, happy with Wilton. But I remember when I first started 20 plus years ago, and Wilton was one of those teams you're just waiting for them to break out, and they just never could do it. They never had like that signature win, and they weren't really doing very much. And now EJ comes in, it's just like, oh my God. Now they're a threat every time they step on the field. Now they should prove that tonight. Look at Staples. Yeah. So feeling it. They're feeling it after the Darien victory. They were like, where's our trophy?
There are certain teams that win with a little bit of like grace, I guess. And when you win in an exuberant way and you celebrate in an exuberant way, when you lose, you got to take your roles. The New Canaan St. Joe's game last week, like that was an awesome game, and the game ended, and I think like two New Canaan kids like somewhat celebrated, and it was just kind of like business as usual. Let's get back to work next week.
Yeah. No. Hey man, you gotta do what comes natural. All right. So, all right, I'm gonna run down all the scores. I'm gonna go from top to bottom. If you're just joining us, we talked about all these games. We don't know all the details on a lot of them. Some of them we did know. But going up the top in the CCC, Glastonbury defeated Manchester 16-0. New Britain making a case here, 42-14 over Southington. Remember, New Britain couldn't. That was like last year. The first time they beat them in like 10 years.
Yeah,
something crazy like that.
Yeah,
and now they beat them twice in a row. South Windsor stops the Connard scoring juggernaut, 50-26. Windsor, speaking of scoring juggernauts, Windsor 52, Enfield 7. East Hartford Simsbury, we have no score on right now.
East Hartford lost Simsbury. No, someone had it in the comments that
so Simsbury
held them to 28. Yeah, and Simsbury
won their first game. Good for Simsbury. All right, and their new coach, Vinny. Okay, CCC, Newington had to rally back to defeat Farmington 18-7. Bristol Central, I think that was their first win of the season, right, Pete?
Not sure.
I'm going to look at it right now. Of course, every time I want to look at this.
Someone said Simsbury 42-28.
42. They stopped the scoring juggernaut as well.
Yeah.
I think Bristol Central might be in. Yeah, but that was Bristol Central's first win, so good for them. Still nothing on those CTC games. Cheney Tech, Vinyl Goodwin, and Thames River ATI. In the ECC, one of the few games going on the East, or the only game tonight on the ECC. The rest of the league is pretty much off. Waterford 35, Ledyard 34. In the FCAC, Fairfield Ludlow beats Norwalk 35-34 in overtime. They were up 2 scores in that game, Ludlow, and then Norwalk came all the way back, and it was back and forth after that. St. Joseph extends their defensive shutout streak to at least 8. Who's the team they played before that? They have a little bit of a streak going here as far as like the defense is concerned. The offense, the offense is the only one that gave up those points last week. St. Joe 16, Ridgefield 0, which is very impressive because Ridgefield was making a move. New Canaan 43, Danbury 10. That's number 1 New Canaan. Wilton obviously beating Staples. We talked about at the top of the show, 41-7. Nothing on West Hill and McMahon just yet. In the NVL, Oxford 36, Wilby 0. Ansonia 28, Holy Cross 26, held them off. I think Holy Cross scored late to make that score look a little better, and then Ansonia recovered the onside kick. Seymour hangs on to beat Wilkett 21-20. Don't know much about that game, but they always have trouble with Wilkett for whatever reason. But they win this time. They move to, they are undefeated, right, Pete?
Wilkett or Seymour?
No,
Seymour.
Seymour is leading Class S right now, right there with Woodland. Torrington 55, G&H 21. Watertown wins its first game of the post Brady Gamby era. over St. Paul 21-14. Waterbury Career Academy still undefeated 20-17 over Naugatuck. I don't think we're going to see Naugatuck in the playoffs this year, Pete, so that streak will continue. Coggin-Chog, East Hampton, Hell Ray gets off the deck 40 over Capital Prep, 40-6. Cromwell Portland. Now, this game threw me. Someone posted it with the Weaver score first, and I automatically assumed it was the.
Yeah, I saw your quote tweet. I'm like, I don't think Sean read the story.
I didn't read it. I read it quick.
The tweet. Yeah,
but then I stopped. I'm like, whatever. Who cares? Cromwell Portland they're undefeated. Cromwell Portland 42. Weaver Hartford Co-op 29. The Hartford All Stars. Haddam Killingworth 20. Morgan 13. Morgan close, but not. Haddam Killingworth wins it. Snaps its 2-game losing streak. Nothing on anyone out there know anything about Valley and North Branford? Post it. What do you got? And then as you do that, I'll look for this. I got more Pequot scores. What do you got? Nothing. No one. Granby Canton 28. Craig 22. Rockville 35. Stafford East Windsor Stafford Co-op 13. 35-13. Rockville undefeated. Ellington probably won that game. I don't know though, but they would be undefeated if they did against Coventry. Excuse me. SMSA Co-op and the Hawks, no score in that game. And then finally in the SEC, what do you got?
No, they haven't tweeted out a score, so I'm going to take a guess that they lost. Tweet out their wins.
Let's see. Amity 48, Harding 6 in the SEC, which went bonkers tonight. Cheshire knocks off number 4 Hand 28-27 in overtime. They went for 2 at the end to win it. East Haven 20, Wilbur Cross 6. I believe that's East Haven's first win. Fairfield Prep knocks off West Haven 17-14. Guilford defeats Shelton. I think it's the second time in a couple of years that Guilford's beaten Shelton now. 17-zip. Jonathan Law 34, Brantford 13. The battle of Brantford was undefeated, not Law, but Law lost to Killingly, and Brantford was kind of show its mettle, and Law pretty much took it to him. 34-13. Lyman Hall 46, Bassick 6. Notre Dame West Haven knocking off North Haven, not just knocking them off, flattening them. 42-14. Good job, Joe and the Green Knights. Really good job. And then Sheehan defeats Xavier 28-14. So those are your scores for tonight. Anything else you want to add here, Peter? What else we got?
No, I gotta put together my Wilton Staples reel. I gotta get that. Excuse me. Gotta get that up.
Right. Pete's been sick all week.
All week. This is my Jordan flu. Game.
Yeah, but shout out to all the guys at Law they're all like, oh, fuck. They love the show and everything like that.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Wilton was giving me the business. I had to change my name in honor of them for the show today. They told me to trust the 8-ball, and they will get an 8-ball in the mail after I do my reel. I got to order it to the school for Coach D'Annunzio and Wilton. Yeah. If you missed any games that we talked about, go back, rewind. Be kind, rewind, start over. You could go to our website.
Yeah.
Go to our website. Go to GametimeCT.com, CTinsider.com, GametimeCT. Read our stories.
Yeah.
If there's any scores, go check our scoreboard. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Do we think WH, I'm assuming West Haven will be in the mix in December? Yeah. Yeah. They have 2 good losses. No losses are good, but you lose to.
Let's put it this way.
The Staples loss. The Staples loss does not look that good anymore.
No, that's the thing. So the North Haven beating Cheshire looks really good until North Haven loses.
Yeah, we're gonna throw the poll. The poll is gonna look really interesting on Monday. Yeah, I think there might be some big shufflings. Even a team like Darien, who lost last week. Did they play this week? They play tomorrow. Yeah, so they'll win this week, but they lost last week. I think they might take a tumble because the Wilton win over Staples might push them below. You know what I mean? I think we're going to see a big shakeup in the poll this week. A really big shakeup if the voters are paying attention.
Well, Wilton's taking a huge jump, but I have to evaluate some of these teams because when you do this transitive property, is this team beat this team, beat this team, beat this team, and now you start to get it to the type of season where it starts to double back, it starts to eat its own tail.
Yeah,
you know, and you're like, wait a minute, that team beat this team, and this wait a minute, it becomes an endless loop.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do, but Wilton obviously really impressed. Thank God I got to see him against Ludlow.
Yeah,
and Dustin was great. I mean, Calabrese though,
he was awesome. He was awesome tonight. Calabrese was amazing.
So
they look good. Did
you see that? I completely forgot to point it out on the meat grinder on Monday's live show, which we do if you don't know. But there was a play in there where he just took a Ludlow kid, like ran into him, and then like took his head and went like just threw him to the ground. Calabrese.
It's like I told him at the end of the game. I said, not bad for a running back, because Wilton got a lot of crap when they decided to move him to quarterback this year, because he's their best athlete. He's their they just wanted to put the ball in his hands because they graduated so much. And so I said to him, not bad for a running back. And he just looked at me with a big smile. He's like, you're damn right.
Love it. Love to see it, man. Love to see it. All right. So I think we're going to call that a podcast today. Not a lot going on tomorrow. Griswold Wheeler at Woodstock, New London at Bacon in the ECC, Wilcox Caner versus O'Brien taking the CTC, Darien at Central in the FCAC, Trumbull at Greenwich. Will Trumbull show up? Trumble's been having a real rough go of it, but sometimes Greenwich sleep Saturday afternoons. Who knows? Cool. And they're Trumbull. I mean, Trumbull one of these days is going to show up. Fairfield Ward at Stanford, Kennedy at Derby, and Woodland at Crosby in CIC action. So that's not so if you have a Saturday, you need to do some chores or anything, hang around the house, you go ahead and do that.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Exactly what I'm doing too. So, all right. So we'll call that. We'll see you guys all on Monday's live show. We do that at 7:30, 7:45 actually. So we have all highlights. We'll have once we get to find out all the stuff that happened and dig into it and kind of analyze it from there. We'll guys show you as we get into the midseason. We are halfway through almost.
Yeah.
We got one more week, and that is halfway through the season. Maybe for some teams 6 games. But so
I think Newtown. Yeah.
What's up? Newtown.
Yeah, I remember last year Newtown played the first 6 weeks before they got a bye. They were 6-0.
Hand does that. I'm looking at their schedule today. Hand does that. I think their bye I think is the week after Halloween. So that first week in November. I think.
That might be 7.
I thought that was interesting. But, all right,
we're wrapping
up.
Thanks
for joining us, everybody.
Stay tuned for your reels on the Instagram account. Yeah. Good night, Tom Drew.
Yeah, good night, Tom.